But today what I'm going to do is share with you the 9 steps that I took to launch a 6-figure online business and online course.
Welcome to the Aaron LeBauer Show. This is the #1 show for passionate physical therapy and healthcare entrepreneurs looking to level up their income and impact on the world. If that's you, then you're in the right place. So sit back, chill out, and let's get into the show.
Hey, what's up? It's Aaron. Welcome back to the Aaron LeBauer Show. I guess that's my show, right? I promised you guys some juicy shows. And today is hopefully going to be a little bit tactical for you. So this might be a show that you want to get out a pen and paper, or maybe not even pen and paper. Open up that app in your phone, whether it's Google Keep or Google Docs or Notes or something like that, to take some notes. There is, if you're listening on iTunes, there will be a show notes page which should have some of the details. I don't know, let's get into it. My name is Aaron LeBauer. If you don't know me, I'm a physical therapist. I started life as a bike messenger, a temp, and then I went to massage therapy school. From there, PT school, saw 43 patients in one day, decided I had to open my own cash practice. And for the last 10, 11 years, maybe 11 now, I've been coaching other physical therapists in launching, scaling, and transitioning to cash-based physical therapy practices, making multiple 6 and 7 figures a year. Not just clinic owners, but I've helped online business owners launch online courses and make thousands of dollars. I've helped them scale from 3 to 5K months to 40 and 50K months. And people build massive email lists, online followings, but it's really not the size of the following. It's the size of your bank account that really measures your impact, not your following. I mean, I've helped people, like Brandon Smith make 40K in a week. Jess Jenny make $9,000 in email that she sends out. Even my buddy Ryan Obenesser, I gave him an email script and he's like, dude, I just made $6,000 with that one email you sent out. So I've been doing this stuff for a long time. A lot of people don't know. They see me as the guy that launches a cash practice, or maybe now, helps you scale a cash practice. And, some people see that I've helped others launch online businesses, and my online business is actually bigger than my cash practice, which is kind of crazy, but really kind of cool. And so what I want to do today is kind of walk you through some of the things that I did to launch the 6-figure version of my business. And then I don't know whether it's going to be next week or there's going to be another episode that I'll go through and talk about some of the pieces to go from 6 to 7 figures. And we may even break it down in there because there's some different things that had to happen along the way. Because going from like 0 to 10K is one journey. Making 6 figures, just finally hitting 100K in a year is another. Somewhere around the 40K and even 60K marks, there's like, at least for me, there were sticky points, but I've seen it in other people. And then, getting to $1 million is very different. All right. And then once you're at $1 million, which is $84,000 a month, then you've got to get 100K months and you got to go past that. And there's always going to be these little sticky points. But what I don't want to do is start you and be like, I don't want to start you where I'm at. I want to start you where I was, because don't judge your day 1 with my day 5,000, or don't judge your year 2 to my year 10. Actually, I've been in business for 22 years. I've owned my own business since 1999 and it's 2023. So that's 24 years I've been in business. So for myself. So don't judge your year 1, 2, 3, or 4 against my year 24. You can't. And so what I want to do is talk a little bit today about what I did and then some of the changes I would make if I was doing it again today, because today is 2023, and when I started this, it was 2011. I'd have to go back and look and see when the first payment was. The first digital download, I think, was early 2013 or maybe 2012. I think my course, we launched my course in 2014, book in 2019 or something like that. It's interesting. So let's go back and talk about, okay, so here's why you need an online business, or really why I wanted an online business, was I had a cash practice and it was great. So remember, for context, when I graduated PT school in 2008, which was December 2008, I went to Elon University, and I was like, I'm going to start a cash practice. Like I had that day where I saw 43 patients one day, and I was like, look, I'm working as a massage therapist doing, like body work and more like medical massage, myofascial release. And I was charging $85 an hour. I actually was charging more when I moved to Greensboro than I was when I was in San Francisco. In San Francisco, I was charging $80 an hour, and then the .com crash happened. People were like, oh, that's expensive. And I was like, well, I'll back it down to $75. And I had less people complaining about the price. What I should have done was, learned how to sell, but I didn't. I just backed down the price, and it was fine. I moved to Greensboro, and I started charging $85 an hour. I'm in PT school. I'm making $85 an hour, which is pretty dope. I mean, if you could go, for many of you listening, especially if you have a job, you're probably like, dang, I'm getting paid $42, $47 an hour, maybe $50. Maybe you got home health. Maybe you're making a little more, but $85 an hour is pretty good. But you can only do so many massages a week, right? And it's trading time for money. So, but let me get back to the context, was that no one really believed in me. I mean, I had, my family was supportive, and I had some clinical instructors that were supportive, but really it wasn't, the people around me weren't like, yes, you can launch a cash practice. Like it's going to work. And here's how you do it. There were people who were doing it, but they weren't talking about it. They weren't really teaching it. They weren't sharing about it. And majority of people told me it's not going to work. It's unethical. Like this isn't how you do it. Right. And so from the get-go, I never had a vision of, okay, I'm going to build a practice, and I'm going to, have multiple locations, one in Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem. Like I'm going to have multiple people working for me. That wasn't something that I thought of from the get-go. That wasn't the vision from the get-go. So just to give you some context, like that's possible now. And we've got people doing that now from the get-go, big vision, multiple locations, $1 million each location, et cetera. If you want to learn more about that, we've got other episodes, or go back and listen to the Cash PT Lunch Hour episodes, et cetera. So I've got my practice. And if you've been in business, there's ups and downs. And I remember one of the early lessons that my cousin Scott, who isn't one of my only other family members at the time who was in business for himself, he's a life insurance salesman and annuities and things like that. And so he's in business for himself, but he's still like aligned with like Northwest Mutual or something like that. So he has got infrastructure to rely on. I didn't have infrastructure to rely on or anything like that, but there's still ups and downs. He's like, Aaron, you just got to learn to ride the wave. Well, I would have these waves, so it's fine. So during the down waves, so it's like you get busy treating patients, you have less time to market, and then people get better, and you're like, whoa, now I got all this time. Where patients go, I better go market. And that kind of wave is one thing that we fix with our automated marketing follow-ups, and that we give all our mastermind members systems, and that's something that I've developed over the years, now partnering with Brandon Smith with DPTpreneur. So like that whole follow-up system, automated marketing that helps even out the waves, right? I didn't have that 14 years ago when I started my practice. I did email marketing, but it wasn't the full system of how do we get people coming in automatically. Eventually developed that, and pre-COVID, I didn't have to do any marketing. Patients just came in to see us through all the things that we had done. COVID changed a lot. So, we're doing things a little bit different now, which is totally good. It's a learning thing. But so I had these waves, and I knew, and so early on it was fine. I was like, I'll spend more time with the kids or family, or just work on some of these other pieces of the business. And one of the things I would do would go into the online forums. APT had online forums. A lot of these like Con Ed providers would have these online forums. I had them for Lambretta scooters. They're there for Porsches and all the niche things. And I would go and just help people. They would ask questions about business, or how do you charge cash or whatnot. And I just help people. There were a couple blogs that started, and, and some other things, and I just answer questions, and I had people reach out to me. So I did not go into online business with the intention of selling something. I went in like online with the intention of helping other people and sharing what I know and sharing my experience, really without expecting anything in return. Okay, so, and then I knew I was getting, this is one of the reasons. So let me go. So I knew that people were asking, after a while, people were asking the same questions over and over again, or they were reaching out to me and say, hey, Aaron, can you help me with these other things? And I was like, I'm on to something. So let's get into let me tell you a little bit about why you need an online business. And then I'll get into start the 9 steps, because I'm starting to get into that with this story. So one of the reasons you need an online business is so that you can reach people in any location in the world. Not everyone in the world is my customer. And if I'm doing physical therapy, you need to be careful that you're not violating any state laws, because you can't provide physical therapy to a patient who's residing or present in a state where you're not licensed. However, you can do online coaching, online training. You can, sell products, courses, all kinds of things that aren't actually like physical therapy as defined in laws and structure. You use your degree to educate people. So there's a lot of different options for online business, and maybe we can create a podcast on that soon. But you need one because you can reach even more people. An online business is actually infinitely more scalable than an in-person business, because in-person business still relies on trading time for money. It's just not trading my time for money. So trading time for money is, I see a patient, they pay me $250 an hour, I treat them, and I go home. If I don't come in to treat the patient, I don't make the money. It's as simple as that. If I have an employee, I'm not trading time for money, but they are. But with online business, as long as I'm not doing one-on-one coaching, I've got courses, I've got group coaching. No one's trading time for money. We're trading time for results. Okay, so that's one thing, is online business will help you reach more people. 2, it'll help even out the wave. If you can get some income coming in, even if you don't want it to be a full-time thing, you can generate, $1,000 to $5,000, even, 30, 50. You could do $1 million in monthly recurring revenue, but that's not a side business. But let's say you're doing, 2 to 3K a month in, recurring revenue as a side business through some coaching. Well, that's certainly going to even out the wave when one month you're doing 15K and the next month you're doing 20. So you're doing 20K, and then 15, but you've got that extra 3K every month coming in. Now it's, instead of 15 and bouncing between 15 and 20, it's bouncing between 20 and 18. So it's, or maybe 23 and 18. So then that raises your standard. You're like, I've got more. So as you get more, make sure that you don't spend to the limit. That's a topic for another day too, but that's where an online business is really helpful, or it's like this secondary piece to what your in-person people need. Number 3, I'm just going to caution you, where your focus goes, the money flows, right? Or where your energy goes, the money flows. Like if you have a clinic and you shift to doing online business because it feels great and it sounds like an awesome idea, and your clinic isn't automated, well then your clinic is going to dip while you focus your energy somewhere else. You just either be ready for that, or you need systems to automate your clinic, or vice versa. You got an online business and you want to open a clinic. Well, make sure the online business is automated and generally runs without you doing too much, so you can take focus off of it and go do the next thing. So let's talk about the 9 steps. Step 1, what I did was I just answered questions. Like I said, I was answering questions in online forums, other people's blogs in person, but it wasn't really in person. And so today it might be, in comments in Facebook groups, Instagram accounts, Instagram posts, reels, etc. Just share what you know. Instagram isn't really Q&A. Facebook groups are, but also if you come in, let's say you come in my group, the Cash PT Nation, and you start answering questions like you're the boss around there, you're probably going to get the boot. It's like, go build your own Facebook group. Don't come in and poach, just come in and be helpful. Like etiquette would be, you see a post, a question someone makes, and you'd be like, hey, here's what happened in my experience. Here's what worked for me. You don't come in and be like, hey, DM me and I'll give you the answers. Or hey, check out my website or my other group and I'll answer the question for you over there. Like, dude, you'll get the boot and you'll piss a lot of people off. And then don't come in there also like answering questions like you run the show, or doing like Facebook Lives to be like, hey, I saw these questions. I'm going to do a Facebook Live to answer all your questions. Like, great. Go do that in your own group. Go poach someone else's group, not mine. I've booted, at this point, hundreds of people out of the group. But you just need to be helpful. There's a way to be helpful and authentic in answering questions. Hey, this is what worked for me. What if you tried this? Like, oh, that's a great question. I solved that problem by X. And man, if you solved that problem by X because Aaron helped you, it would be awesome if you gave me some credit, or shoot, maybe someone else helped you. Give them some credit. Hey, I learned this from so-and-so. Great. You know what? I learned the 9-word email. I learned that from, it's a Dean Jackson email, but I learned it from, God, who did I learn it from? I learned it from, I learned it from Craig Ballantyne, maybe. I don't know where Craig learned it. I think he learned some of the 5130 posts that we do from Talkie more. And now I'm in Talkie Moore's group. So it's like, I know where I've learned those things. I'm not going to be like, hey, it's Aaron LeBauer's 9-word email, because I didn't make it. So just go and answer questions. Be helpful to people. People are going to message you on your own platform, and just be helpful. The very first part about launching an online business is you have to have raving fans. You have to have people who are ready to buy something from you. Okay, so answer their questions. Be helpful. Share what you know. Number 2, I created a blog. Okay, I knew that people were asking the same questions. I was like, I can't just answer these questions all the time. Let me go write out the answer in detail on my blog, and I can share that blog link with them. One of the most common ones is on how to create a super bill and receipt for physical therapy. The other one is, well, Aaron, I live in a direct access state and I don't have direct access. I can't start a cash practice. I mean, those are the 2 most common blog posts that I have. They're the ones I share the most with people because there's easy solutions. They're just not seeing them. Right now I would probably still create a blog, but I would probably mostly focus on YouTube. Blog would be the way to repurpose the YouTube video and maybe share a link to my website so I could retarget people for ads. But I created a blog. And the funny thing is when I first created it, and launched it, I worked really hard on it. I got a cease and desist letter as well as an invitation to speak at the Florida private practice section. So I knew I was onto something good. So right now I'd probably focus on, creating helpful, resourceful content on YouTube, and I'd put details in the YouTube description. Maybe instead of a blog post, and then later on you could have a VA add it to a blog, or put when you decide you start making money, you can go buy a website and do a blog. YouTube's free. That was number 2. It's like, put the information out there in a resourceful place. I've got over 1 million views on our clinic YouTube because I started doing that 13 years ago. Some of my content on there is has hundreds of thousands of views. I'll just tell you, one of the mistakes I made was when I started my coaching business, I started putting those videos on the clinic YouTube, partly because back then I couldn't go create multiple YouTube channels with one login. So I even had my Aaron LeBauer personal login to Gmail and Google and YouTube. And in order to create a clinic YouTube page, I had to go create a new LeBauerPT@gmail.com account so I could create a clinic one that wasn't Aaron personal. And then it was the consulting stuff came up in Cash PT Lunch Hour. I've got tens of thousands. I don't know if I have 100,000 views on some of those videos on my clinic channel that no one can tell they're there. Because what eventually I realized was, as my coaching business grew, it got bigger and bigger, but people were going for the coaching business, but they're going to my LeBauer physical therapy YouTube channel, and I needed to split them. And I can talk about this in another episode as well. It's like why I split my brands. I split the brands and I split the finances and all that. And then I restarted the Aaron LeBauer YouTube channel. And I moved, we re-uploaded a lot of videos. And so I've got a video interview of John Barnes, and it's on there. It's got 15,000 views, but it's got another 10 or 15,000 views on the LeBauer physical therapy channel. But now that video is hidden. It's not getting more views and you couldn't see it. So right now I would create a YouTube channel, and I wouldn't do just I wouldn't do it just in your personal email. I would just create a brand channel or a whatever, even an Aaron LeBauer brand channel versus an Aaron LeBauer the person channel, if that makes sense. Just create a new YouTube channel, start putting your stuff up on there. Don't put it on the same channel with all your kids and, vintage scooters you're trying to sell and stuff like that. Okay, number 3. Third thing. So now I know, okay, people are asking me questions. People are coming to the blog and commenting, or people were coming to YouTube and comment. And okay, I knew, I was like, all right, I had already had people ask me for, paid one-on-one coaching and consulting. I've told this story before, but I'll share it again. So somewhere in there, I had a couple classmates ask, Aaron, can you talk me through how you did the cash practice? And I did. I gave them all the secrets. I had another woman who I didn't know ask, like, hey, we hop on a call and can I ask you some questions? I was like, sure. And I get off the call with her, and I was like, all right. And she's like, oh, great. So how much do I owe you? I was like, what do you mean, how much do you owe me? She's like, well, this was really valuable information. I want to pay you for it. And I was like, oh. And she was like, well, how much do you charge your patients? At the time I was charging $135 an hour. She was like, I'll pay you that. And then it was, I think later that day, or I was talking about that with my ex-wife, and she goes, I was telling her about my classmates. I was like, and they didn't even thank me. And she's like, don't give away something for free when you expect something in return. And I was like, I was like, you're right. So I wrote down, I was like, LeBauer Consulting, $135 an hour, right? Like, that's what I charge. And so I knew people were asking me these questions, and even one of my first clients, Joe and Olivia Caruso, like, I did like multiple phone calls with them to help them transition from in-network to out-of-network. In-network to cash, and some out-of-network. But I knew, like, I wasn't going to do one-on-ones because I was seeing 20-something, 25 patients a week. And I was like, I need to write a book. I was like, no, but like Jared Carter already has a book, and I'm not good at writing a book. And I was like, I need to do videos. It just took like 3 months of just like figuring out, like, how am I going to get this information out to everyone? I was like, an online course. I'm going to create an online course. But the first thing that came to my mind was, so number 3 is I released a paid digital download. I knew it was the bonus of the course. This is called the Cash PT Toolkit. And I put this together. I basically put together all the forms and documents that I used to launch my practice into a digital download. I went and cleared out all like my personal stuff and just the templates, like the super bill templates, the income estimator my friend Sam built for me, treatment notes, etc. I mean, I went and had someone else on Fiverr redesign the treatment notes so they didn't look like the person that, I got them from. They looked like my own, and they had my own stuff. I got it all redesigned so that it was like new and it wasn't selling someone else's things. I recreated stuff. I even took, like the launch, like the checklist that I had to launch my business, and that became my lead magnet, the Cash PT checklist. The Cash PT checklist is basically the Word document that I used, that I put together, like, here's everything I need to do to get my cash practice off the ground. And that became my lead. I've got an email list of 22,000 people. 15,000 of them have downloaded the Cash PT checklist or something like that. So I put these things, I took what I had and was using, and I was like, this is what people are asking. They're asking, like, what are all the steps? And they're like, hey, do you have a copy of it? How do I do super bills? Do you have a copy of treatment note? Blah, blah, blah. And so, all right, great. And so I released a paid digital download. And I think I even had another book that was either a lead magnet or I might have sold. It was called Blogging for Physical Therapists. I can't remember if I actually sold it or not, but it was like, I put it out there. Let me say, before number 3, 2.5, I built an email list. I totally even forgot to put this in here. I'll put that in my notes. 2.5, I signed up with Weber and built the email list. Because you know what? The reason I didn't initially have that in there, because I was already doing that for my clinic. So I just had a different place in there. I wouldn't say go sign up with Weber now. Weber's not the best place anymore. I've been using ActiveCampaign for 10 years since, and that's still not the best place. If you want to build an email list right now, the best thing is, it's called DPTpreneur. It's an all-in-one marketing software built specifically for physical therapists. So you can message me about it. I'll get you details. But that being said, I built an email list, right? Because I had these free digital downloads where I was coming out, I was like, what's my lead magnet? Once I had built a list, I had 500 people on my email list. I was like, hey, everyone's been asking about this. I put up a product and I sold it and it started selling. I knew it wasn't the thing that was going to make me money. I mean, it was going to make me some money, but it wasn't the ultimate thing. But I was like, this is the bonus. And like it came to me. I was working out. Like these just things, they just came right into my brain. So I released this. So 2.5 is I started collecting emails with a lead magnet. 3 is I released a paid digital download. So I tested my market basically where I said, hey, for $37, would this interest you? Just to be funny, that sales page is so good. In the last year, 3 people have purchased that toolkit for $997. And if you did, and you're one of those 3 people that purchased it for almost $1,000, you know how worth it and valuable it is. But I sold it for years at $37, $49, $100. If you want it, the only place to get it right now, I mean, you can go to my website right now and get it. And I think I priced it at $1,500 because I don't actually want to sell it anymore, because I know that it comes for free as a bonus for my course, the Cash PT Blueprint. And I don't want you to just king the toolkit, partly because the toolkit it's a zip file. People can't figure out how to open it. They can't figure out how to download it. They try to download it on their iPad, or they're trying to open the Pages doc in Google Docs, or they're trying to open the Word doc in Pages, and just too many user errors. And I was like, too much hassle. So I raised the prices over the years. People would buy it regularly at $150, even $197. If you want to get it right now, it's one of the upsells when you go get my free book, cashptblueprintbook.com. Next page you can get the toolkit, or you can get it when you enroll in the Cash PT Blueprint course. But the goal with that isn't to sell those, and it's not to sell them at $1,000 or even $1,500. Everyone who bought it at $1,000, I contacted them personally. I was like, hey, thanks for getting that. I'd love to, I know that you're starting a practice. I'd love to get you into my course, and I'm happy to apply what you just invested in the toolkit to the course. But that sales page is really good, apparently. Number 4 is I was like, all right, it's time to build a course. I was like, and I got on this strategy call with this company, and they wanted to charge me like $20,000 or $10,000. I don't know what it was. It was a lot of $1,000 to help build an online course. And I talked to a friend, John Schumacher, who's another PT who left physical therapy to teach online, running a podcast. He had interviewed me at that point already about cash-based physical therapy. He was one of the first people to interview me. And I've been talking about and sharing it. I had done some podcast interviews with other people. And I was talking to John about it one day, and I remember I was sitting down in my garage, and he was like, yeah, Aaron, I can help you do this. He's the first thing we need to do is build a sales page. And he's like, I'll help you do it, and I'll give you, and I'll help you promote it. And John helped me write and build a 5-day email sequence to promote the Cash PT Blueprint, and I built a sales page. So step number 4 is I hired a coach. John didn't do it for free. I can't remember what I paid him, a couple $1,000, something like that. I hired him, and he helped me write and launch this course, which is awesome. So John, if you're actually listening, thank you so much. But he's sitting there telling me, he's like, Aaron, you have a 6-figure business. I'm like, no way. No, I don't. I didn't believe him because I didn't believe in myself, because I didn't believe that other people were going to want to do cash-based physical therapy. So number 4, I hired a coach, right? Number 5, I sold my course. I didn't build the course. I sold it. I sold my course. We did I built the sales page. I tested the market, asked questions. I knew what people were asking. I built this sales page. I stacked in my bonuses, the toolkit, the blogging for therapists, do you take my insurance bonus, and a couple other things. And then we ran a 5-day email promotion, and I sold it for $197. And I told him, I was like, hey, on Sunday, the price is going up. And then once I get X number of people in, we'll release the first module. And I was like, I don't know. I'll release the first modules as, basically, one a month, one a week. I didn't really make a promise. I just, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it over the course of the next 3 months. 25 people bought it, $197. I raised $5,000, which is enough money to go and, pay a VA to help me build out the membership website in WordPress, so that I could take some time and I knew, okay, great, I've got to take some time to build out the PowerPoints and record them. And then I did the editing, etc. The funny thing is, this same email promotion is basically what I've run other people through it, but when Brandon Smith started working with me, this is what I gave to him, and we built we did the exact same thing with him, almost exact same email promotion, except he used his words, his story, his offer, and that's what brought him in $40,000 in 1 week. Was the same 5-day course promotion. So I sold my course. I raised the price. I kept promoting it through email because remember, I'd built an email list. I didn't have anyone on Instagram. I had some people following me on Facebook. And I built the course and kept selling it and enrolled 25 people. Just a few weeks ago at BK Live, at Bedros' live event, I got to actually meet one of the people in person, Joseph Rendina. So shout out to Joe. He got it that fall. So it was dope. Joe's got 4 practices. They're not all cash, but it was one of those things where he enrolled in to learn some of the business practices, marketing things that we were doing. And he's got 3 successful practices in New York and 1 in Connecticut, and he's crushing it. So shout out to Joe. I've met a couple of the other people who came in early on and see them grow their businesses over the years to multiple 6 figures, even $1 million, and multiple therapists, etc. And it's like, I'm like, holy cow. So number 4, hired a coach. Number 5, sold the course first. Number 6, built the course. So what did I do? I built the course. I hired a VA to build out like the course in WordPress. Right now, you could go build out the course in like ClickFunnels, where most of my courses are now. But even if I was going to do it over today, I'd get into DPTpreneur, use it to build my list, use it to build courses, use it for the marketing, etc. Probably easy enough to go build the course modules, and there's some course templates in there, but you have to write out the modules. So as part of the sales page, I knew, okay, here's what the modules are going to be, and here's what they're going to be about, but I didn't have like the training. You got to go do the training, record the training, maybe have someone do some light edit, but please do not go spend $20,000, $30,000, or $50,000 on building a course. Please don't. And please do not do that before you sell the thing. Okay? I've worked with people who've spent money like that to make this perfect course that looks great, that like makes them look really awesome because the course looks great, but they haven't made that much in sales and they struggle to get there, and they're like, oh, blah, blah, blah. This is too hard. The training didn't work, because steps like 1, 2, and 2.5, that's where you need to spend most of your time, especially if you're getting started. But then you got to go build the course, and you need to over-deliver. You don't just meet people's expectations, you need to over-deliver. And over-deliver doesn't mean teach them too much. It means make it easy. Give them a video, give them an audio download, give them a PDF download place to take notes, give them links and resources, all the helpful things that they need to make their life easier and shorter. And give them some kind of private community in Facebook or Discord or somewhere else. You gotta go build out the course. And it can take some time. Leverage your time, leverage your team to do that. Okay? And then number 7, I raised the price. I raised the price multiple times. So when I first launched, it was $197. The next day, when Sunday at midnight hit, it was $297. And then at some point, I was like, I'm going to promote this. And I built it, and I put another timeline. I was like, okay, it's $297 until the course is completely built. And after the course is completely built, I think it was $397. Man, $400 for a step-by-step blueprint to build a 6-figure practice, and it's a smoking deal. Even now, it's $2,500 to get the course. And that course has helped, I've put thousands of people through the course, and it's helped them build 6-figure businesses. So it's $2,500 to give you the blueprint to go make $100,000. Easy. I mean, a lot of people are making $200,000 a year just by themselves, right? I mean, wouldn't you agree that that's a pretty good investment? So your course, your offer needs to be able to provide some kind of results for people that is even bigger, that they understand is bigger than the money they're investing. And so one of the ways that I do that, and when you're selling, is as you build the course, put in a bonus, or bonus number 1 or 2. So like bonus 1, maybe 1 or 3, or 1, 2, or 3 should be a bonus that people can see that just that bonus is going to make me back my investment. Right? I just told you one of the bonuses is the toolkit, and people have paid $1,000 for it. I mean, they were getting the toolkit plus all this other stuff for hundreds of dollars. The more people pay, the more they pay attention. now, as our mastermind members are paying $2,100 a month, 85-90% of them show up to our calls and our events. When I had a coaching group that was $97 a month, 12 of 70 people would show up to calls. 8 of 70 people would show up to calls. Like, what was that, like 15%? Because I wasn't charging enough for them to take it seriously to get the, and now my clients are getting results crazy fast. 20K months, 8 months into business, 65K months, Ben was a year and a half into business. That was a few years ago. 56K months, a year and a half into business, 15,000 the first month. I mean, I've had clients do that because we've improved the system, but also because they're paying enough to go all in and be like, hey, I'm going to take this serious. So raise the price. It is really hard to make 6 figures on a $97 course. So I'm just going to do some math for you. So let's say we take $100,000, divide by 97. So you have to sell 1,030 courses to make $100,000. Let's say you price it at $197. So you price it at $197. You need 507 people to buy your $197 thing to make $100,000 to make 6 figures. So if that is 42 people a month need to buy your $197 thing for you to make 6 figures. 42 people, like it was me. It's like I gotta get 42 people who want to start a cash practice every month. I'm like, I'm pretty sure there are that many people, but that'd be pretty hard to do. But let's say you're charging, you want to make 6 figures and you're charging $997. That's 100 people in a year, divided by 12. That's 8 people a month. Now that's not that hard. That's 2 people a week. And at $997, I used to do that. So what I did was I raised the price and then I started selling the course on webinars. I think I did some one-to-one sales, but I started doing webinars. And in 2017, I hired I was doing webinars, so I paid Russell. In 2016, I paid Russell Brunson for his perfect webinar formula. It was like $150, and I got like a template, and I got a training, and I got a little image download to help me make my webinar. If you guys just saw Alex Hormozy's $100 million leads thing, that was the perfect webinar that Russell Brunson has been teaching for 10 years, and Alex Hormozy nailed it. And I've been doing that with my webinars. So I hired John. He helped me do webinars, and then I was doing Cash PG Lunch Hour started as interviews, like a Cash PG Lunch Hour is like a live interview, and I was doing sales webinars to sell my course because people were buying it through the sales page, and I promoted on email. I was like, all right, let's do a webinar. And it was 2017, I hired Lewis Howes, who runs the Greatness podcast, or it's called and the Summit of Greatness. So he's one of the largest podcasters. He ran a course on selling webinars. Or no, his wasn't on webinars. This was called Legacy, and this was building like a personal brand, selling webinars, there were 5 or 6 different modules. And the first week he did a challenge. He's like, take your thing that you're selling and go out and sell it. It's a $2,000 weekend challenge because the course was $2,000. And I was like, I had a webinar I was planned for 4 weeks later. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to run that webinar this Saturday, take some of the things that Lewis taught me, add it in there. And I ran the webinar and I sold 18 courses for $1,000. I made $18,000, or maybe it was $1,500, but so I was doing that. And then I raised the price to $1,500 later on and did $1,500 on the webinar. And then I was even doing the course for $2,000 on the webinar. I can talk you through a lot of the other things, but I raised the price and I was selling this course for $2,000 on the webinar. At that time, what I was doing was, it was $2,000, but I was also giving you an extra marketing course. Okay, sidebar, that marketing course, everyone asked for more marketing. I built that course before I sold it, and it didn't sell very well. I got a bunch of people telling me they wanted their money back from it, but those were the strategies that helped me build my business and automate my business. It was just too hard for them, or they didn't want to put in all that work. And so what I ended up doing was bundling it with the Cash PT Blueprint and selling it for $2,000. And people loved it. It's like you got a 2 for 1, right? 2 courses for the price of 1 plus all the bonuses, and did that. And I sold it that way for a long time. And then When COVID hit, I brought the price back down a little bit, but I took that marketing course off. And so, like I'm saying, it's like, so the price can move up and down. One of the other things, so I sold the course on webinars. So the main deal is, like, say you want to make 6 figures, let's just say, divide by 1,500. Now I need to sell 67 in a year or 5.5 every month. And there's easily 5 people every month who are in my DMs, replying to emails on my email list, who are going to buy a course to launch a 6-figure cash practice. Because it's like, they want to do it. There's lots of people to do that. And for $1,500, that's something that a professional who is a doctor of physical therapy can afford if it's something they really want to do. If someone tells you they can't afford it, it's because they don't know that they really want to do it. They're second guessing themselves and their skills, etc. So sell the course on webinars. Right now, I still do webinars. I got evergreen webinar. You can go to LeBauerConsulting.com/free webinar and see it. You can probably go to my website and find it, and check out the webinar. If I was going to create it again today, I might do something slightly different where it wouldn't be like as long of an hour-and-a-half webinar. Like, this one works for me, and so I'm not going to stop doing it until it doesn't work. I can tell you it's not selling as well as it did in 2018, 2019. Well, because there's competition. There's competition for, coaches, but there's also competition for time. And since COVID, people have a whole lot less time. So I'd probably do more of a VSL, even like a 30-minute training type of thing, and sell it. What I do a lot now is I do sell in the chat. So we do some chat sales, and we don't even use a webinar. I take people through to a PDF. It's more of a PDF version of the sales page. And then if they don't buy it there, then I send them to the webinar, and then they'll buy it because they have another opportunity to do it. So I would do something like that. That's exactly what I did. And then number 9 is I made it evergreen. So I run my webinars on Webinar Jam, and then I made it evergreen. And one of the ways to make it evergreen is not only have a platform like a replay, you have to, as you bring people into your email list, you have to find automated ways to bring people onto your email list and then move them through an email sequence to get them to the webinar. And on Evergreen, this webinar makes me hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, which is dope, right? It's dope. I mean, so those are the 9 steps that I took to build a 6-figure online business. There's some other, so think about it. Like, remember, just to review, spend more time in the beginning creating your audience, making sure you get clear on who it is you're helping and how, what problems you're solving and what you're going to do to help solve those problems. But if you don't know the problems they have, then you won't be able to solve them. Sometimes the struggle you had is the struggle and the reasons most people will buy. But a lot of times what you think is the real problem isn't what they want. And so you really, our clients who struggle to figure out how do I build an audience, how do they get people to respond to offers, are thinking too much like a physical therapist and not enough like a consumer. You have to go back and see what's that 4th or 5th grade language that people are using to describe their problems and describe what they want. You'll get that by answering people's questions online. You'll get that by paying attention, by getting feedback, posting real stories hey, does this, what resonates with people, testing it. And so you need to spend, especially if you're starting from scratch, you need to spend a lot of time in there. You got to look at the long time horizon. We had a course, it's called Income Impact Academy. I released it in 2020, and it's helped people make thousands of dollars in online courses in just 30 days. And it's great. And you can go do that with your existing contacts and lists. But the trouble people had was the next month, they were I didn't make the same the second time around, because what they weren't doing was constantly building their audience or collecting new leads. They were only focused on selling. And really, if I can help you sell something and make a couple $1,000s, I know I can help you make 6 figures with it. We just have to have a big enough audience of people with that problem. So that's really where, if you want to build a 6-figure and even 7-figure business, you need to focus on building your audience and giving without expectation. And then have a longer time horizon than just next month or next week or next year. You're going to be I'm passionate about doing this. And you really want to help thousands, if not hundreds of thousands or millions of people. The other thing I want to remind you is look forward. Okay. let's just not look at, hey, how do I do one-on-one coaching and not just courses. You do want some kind of monthly recurring revenue program at some point. You don't need to start with that, but we want to look at like, how do we get people into monthly recurring revenue? Because that's really where the gold's going to be. That's one of the big movers that's going to move you from 6 to 7 figures. Don't let shiny object syndrome pull you away from your main source of income right now, especially if it's another business. If it's a job, whatever, you show up, you do the work, you leave. Like, you can spend your downtime building your online business and brand. If it's a business you've created, make sure before you leave it mentally or physically that you have it continuing to work for you and run for you. Even if you don't have someone else treating patients, you just know, like, I'm getting a consistent flow of new leads every month and new inquiries that I don't have to go work for that. I can spend that extra marketing time on building this online brand. Launch before you create. Just launch before you create. Please stop thinking too hard about it. And it's time to take action. So if you got anything from this, I'd appreciate hearing from you. You know, tag me in your stories and let me know. Shoot me a DM on Instagram, maybe even a rating or review over on iTunes, and I'll see you on the next show. Peace out. Hey, what's up? It's Aaron. Thanks for listening to the show. If you enjoyed the episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a 5-star rating and review over on iTunes. And to catch all the latest from me, follow me over on Instagram at Aaron LeBauer. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.